Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. One sincere and honest move will cover over dozens of dishonest ones. Open-hearted gestures of honesty and generosity bring down the guard of even the most suspicious people. Once your selective honesty opens a hole in their armor, you can deceive and manipulate them at will. A timely gift, a Trojan horse, will serve the same purpose. Who will distrust a person literally caught in the act of being honest? This is an unexpected, well-timed gesture that conflicts the emotions and distracts. In ancient China, this was called the giving before the take. The giving makes it hard for the other person to see the taking. 5 ways you can make people trust you. The first way, through an act of apparent sincerity and honesty. Count Victor Lustig, known as one of the most infamous con men in history, paid a visit to Al Capone. He promised that if Capone gave him $50,000, he could double it. Capone had more than enough money to cover this, but he wasn't in the habit of entrusting large sums to total strangers. Capone observed Lustig and noted something different about his style and manner. He then proceeded to give him the $50,000 under the condition that he only had 60 days to double it. Lustig left with the money, deposited it in a safe deposit box in Chicago, then headed to New York, where he had several other money-making schemes in progress. The $50,000 remained in the bank box untouched. Lustig made no effort to double it. 2 months later, he returned to Chicago, took the money from the box, and paid Capone another visit. Please accept my profound regrets, Mr. Capone. I'm sorry to report that the plan failed. Capone stood up, but before Capone could even decide, Lustig reached into his coat pocket, took out the $50,000 and placed it on the desk. Here's your money, to the penny. Again, my sincere apologies. I would have loved to have doubled your money for you and for myself. Lord knows I need it, but the plan just didn't materialize. Al Capone was confused. I know you're a con man, Count, said Capone. I knew it from the moment you walked in here. I expected either $100,000 or nothing. But this, getting my money back. Well, again my apologies, Mr. Capone, said Lustig, as he picked up his hat and began to leave. You're honest, yelled Capone. If you're on the spot, here's 5 to help you along. He counted out 5 $1,000 bills out of the $50,000. The Count seemed stunned, bowed deeply, said his thanks and left, taking the money. Interpretation. By doing something no one else had done through selective honesty, Lustig was able to disarm Capone's defenses and came out with a profit. He reverse engineered how an individual like Capone thought. When someone like Lustig comes out and exhibits a true gesture of honesty, it forces the Capone type to pause and reflect. Conflicts of emotion create the opportunity to distract and deceive. There are many alike to Capone who spend most of their life mistrusting the company around them. Do not shy away from practicing this law on the Capones of the world. With a well-timed gesture of honesty and generosity, you will have the most brutal and cynical beast in the kingdom eating out of your hand. The second way, learn to give before you take. It softens the ground, takes the bite out of a future request, or simply creates a distraction. The giving can take many forms: an actual gift, a generous act, a kind favor, whatever it takes. The third way, use selective honesty on your first encounter with someone. Selective honesty is best employed on your first encounter with someone. We are all creatures of habit, and our first impressions last a long time. If someone believes you are honest at the start of your relationship, it takes a lot to convince them otherwise. The fourth way, you must build a reputation for honesty based on a series of acts. A single act of honesty is often not enough. What is required is a reputation for honesty. Once this reputation is established, as with first impressions, it is hard to shake. Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. The fifth way, give a gift. Few people can resist a gift, even from the most hardened enemy, which is why it's often the perfect way to disarm people. A gift brings out the child in us, instantly lowering our defenses. Although we often view other people's actions in the most cynical light, we rarely see the Machiavellian element of a gift, which quite often hides ulterior motives. A gift is the perfect object in which to hide a deceptive move. Reversal. When you have a history of deceit behind you, no amount of honesty, generosity or kindness will fool people. In fact, it will only call attention to itself. Once people have come to see you as deceitful, to act honest all of a sudden is simply suspicious. Overt deceptiveness will sometimes cover your tracks, even making you admired for the honesty of your dishonesty. Warning: practice selective honesty with caution. You have to be very self-aware when practicing this tactic. If you don't seem authentic and genuine, people will see past your facade. If people see through it, their feelings of gratitude and warmth will become the most violent hatred and distrust. Unless you can make the gesture seem sincere and heartfelt, do not play with fire.